Who won? The atmosphere in the Elven sacred altar was extremely tense. In the blink of an eye, the battle within the altar's barrier had clearly been decided, and a powerful Elven figure couldn't help but speak up. Poof! Wild energy gathered into countless streams of pitch-black smoke, spreading from the center of the battle and obstructing everyone's sight and perception. However, the energy contained within it caused some of the weaker ones to feel their fighting spirit surging within them. Whoosh! Whoosh! Alice and Little E, upon noticing the situation, stepped forward in unison, each of them catching a nearly lifeless man who was rapidly retreating. They were, of course, the two combatants from the second battle. A draw? Both sides suffered heavy injuries? Seeing the two Elven experts in a disheveled state, countless figures in the audience were filled with buzzing thoughts. Master, you've done well. Thank you. Little Yi's eyes flickered, and it was clear that Marvin had exhausted every last bit of his strength to bring about this outcome. If not for Marvin's desperate efforts, his opponent would have been facing Little E instead. Master, I almost managed to defeat him. What a pity. Despite the countless injuries covering his body, with numerous fire sword marks of all sizes across his skin, the gruesome scars didn't seem to cause Marvin any fear or pain. On the contrary, his voice still carried a strong fighting spirit. Master, you've already done your best. Leave the rest to us, Little E said, and then he helped Marvin back to the center of the altar to recuperate. Your Highness, that guy forcefully activated his origin power at the last moment, which led to my narrow defeat. Otherwise, I would have been able to defeat him and block the remaining two for your Highness. Dev looked at Alice, her elegant figure beside him, and couldn't help but mutter with a growl. At this moment, Alice raised one hand gracefully, creating an energy tray that dragged Dev's battered body. No matter what movements Dev made, Alice maintained a safe distance, as if she wanted to preserve her noble aura without letting his disheveled appearance taint her. Defeat is defeat. There's no need for so many excuses. Leave the rest to me. I will take back what is mine. Go now. Poof! Alice waved her hand lightly, casually sending Dev back to the center of the altar. Her slender hands were crossed in front of her chest, and her long eyelashes slightly swept over the positions of Little E and Xiao Yan, making her intentions clear. Second brother, I'm going. Little E nodded toward Xiao Yan and then broke through the void, heading toward his opponent. Go ahead. Let me see how much you've changed over the years, Xiao Yan said with a relaxed smile. Heh, young Master Little E, it's been years since we last met. You've actually reached the perfect 8-star Docian stage. Truly remarkable, Alice said, her lips showing a slight smile, though her words were clearly filled with provocation. Hemph, I've heard Princess Alice's martial prowess is unmatched across the world. Today, I have the honor to meet you. I hope you will be generous with your guidance. Little E rose into the air, his handsome face carrying a defiant expression. His eyes lightly regarded Alice, full of arrogance. I should have killed you when you first arrived in this space. I made a mistake letting you grow over the years. Now, without the restrictions of the Elven race, this Elven sacred altar will serve as your burial place. It's a good choice. Princess Alice raised her jade hand to cover her lips, appearing languid. A chilling, murderous intent wrapped around her, emanating from her every move. Since that's the case, then let me see Princess Alice's true power. Little E snorted coldly, and a rare trace of brutality flashed in his eyes. If you're ready, then let's begin. Second Elder Marlin spoke, urging them on. I'll leave you with a complete corpse so your brothers can collect your body. Alice's beautiful face was covered with an alluring smile. Her eyes were filled with icy coldness. After today, the 3 major tribes would be utterly destroyed, and Alice would be the next ruler of the Fire Spirit clan. No matter how talented Little E was, no matter how virtuous and graceful Princess Qianqin was, Alice would trample them both underfoot, turning them into stepping stones on her path to success. Whoosh! At Alice's words, Little E could not deny it and shrugged. Then, the surging purple flame energy within him erupted toward the sky. As soon as the purple flames appeared within the altar's barrier, The Yaoji statue at the center seemed to slightly tremble, as though there were some mysterious connection between them. Has the reincarnation been touched? Little E is indeed powerful, Alice said as she stood firm. The brown flame patterns on her pale blue dress flickered, and even the crystal on her pale blue neck began to radiate a rare power. These two are not to be underestimated. I hope Little E will win. Xiao Yan's gaze remained fixed on the arena. Naturally, he didn't care about the fire spirits competition rules. If Little E won, that was fine. But if anything went wrong, he would be the first to act without hesitation. Fire spirit palm. Purple flames erupted from Little Yi's body, and he moved like a shadow within the sacred altar's barrier. A massive purple palm imprint, about 100 feet in size, radiated a terrifying, razor-sharp energy and shot directly toward Alice's vital points without hesitation. There was no mercy in his attack. The moment it was unleashed, it belonged to the realm of celestial arts. Impressive strength. What seemed like a terrifying speed to others was effortlessly neutralized in Alice's eyes. Her beautiful eyes slightly closed, and a crystal at her jade neck flickered. She then extended her delicate finger and pointed towards the void behind her. At the same time, a vast and boundless aura of reincarnation transformed into dancing butterfly shadows, fluttering within the barrier. Boom! Little Yi's speed was incredible. He even split into multiple illusions within the barrier, each carrying a dreadful attack. But before he could direct his assault toward Alice, Alice pointed her finger, instantly shattering all of Little Yi's illusions. Her slender, jade-like finger pressed against his palm, sending a sharp, tingling sensation. Whoosh whoosh. In that moment, with his attack blocked, Little Yi felt a numbing sensation spread from her delicate finger. His entire arm felt as if it had been frozen, no longer under his control. Poof! The butterfly shadows fluttered. The void around Little Yi hummed, and his figure began to show faint, rare cracks, flickering in and out of visibility. Your reincarnation seal is still under control, and the power you currently possess is laughably weak, like an ant to me. Use your full strength, or you will have no chance. With ease, Alice blocked Little Yi's probing attack. She elegantly lifted her head and opened her eyes, gazing down upon him like a deity looking at mere insects. Her voice was devoid of warmth, carrying only an overwhelming, terrifying pressure that struck directly at Little Yi's soul, making him shiver. This was the power of reincarnation, the terrifying might of the Fire Spirit Royal Family. First-tier reincarnation stage, Fire Spirit Royal Family, Princess Alice, indeed formidable. Little Yi's body trembled as purple flames surged from within him, immediately dissolving his seemingly deadly assault. The two exchanged a long stare, and a cold smile appeared on Little Yi's handsome face. Her flames. They seemed similar to the sacred flame's fluctuations, but far too weak. What's going on? Xiao Yan shook his head. He had been watching the battle closely. Although Little Yi's strength was not to be underestimated, Alice's power was equally extraordinary. After all, she could casually intercept Little Yi's formidable attacks, which was enough to prove her strength. Yet, the purple flames and soul shadows rising from Little Yi, along with the ancient seal beginning to glow on his forehead, filled the entire barrier with an unprecedented oppressive atmosphere. The fluctuation of this aura, though faint, was felt clearly by many of the strong individuals present. It carried an irresistible, supreme pressure that made their hearts sink. Now, let me show you the true power of the reincarnation seal. Little Yi's body floated into the air, and countless purple flames poured out like a tidal wave, filling the entire barrier, leaving no space untouched. An energy soul shadow resembling Goddess Yaoji faintly trembled behind him, and with each tremor, it released an overwhelming, suffocating heat and energy. Fire awakens. As the thick purple flames emerged, Little Yi clasped his hands together, his eyes turning icy cold. Countless energies from the heavens and earth within the barrier surged toward him. With the convergence of these forces, a beautiful and solid soul shadow began to materialize behind him. The soul shadow was unmistakably recognizable, wearing a gorgeous black and gold embroidered gown, a purple fire golden crown on her head, pale white skin, and a nearly perfect face. Especially the noble and sacred aura that radiated from her seemed to make one want to bow down in reverence. It was as though no words of beauty could truly describe this soul shadow. It wasn't just a soul shadow, but it carried an oppressive aura so real it could almost be felt. This guy, he can actually summon Goddess Xiao Ji's soul shadow? As Lily performed this act, the entire sacred altar erupted in excitement. Even the usually composed second Elder Marlin suddenly stood up from his stone seat, his pupils shrinking as he stuttered, "This is the soul shadow of Goddess Xiao Ji? How is this possible?" Seeing second Elder Marlin so surprised, numerous powerful Elven race members stared in awe at the stunning soul shadow behind little E. Xiao Ji, as a name, is revered as the supreme goddess among the Elven race. Anyone or anything associated with her identity experiences exponential growth in both value and power. The Reincarnation seal, the soul shadow of Goddess Xiao Ji, it seems I can't let you go. Princess Alice's beautiful eyes showed a flicker of surprise as she gazed at the Reincarnation seal, which gleamed with dazzling starlight on Little Yi's forehead, and the soul shadow, carrying the power to erase everything. A long-lost sense of unease stirred in her heart. If Little Yi continued to gather his power like this, it might interfere with her plans. She was a princess who sought perfection, and she would never allow an unknown figure like him to disrupt her carefully laid plans. Moreover, if she killed him, she could seize Little Yi's Reincarnation seal and then covet the treasures within her clan. After all, the Fire Spirit clan had strict rules, and those in positions of power, like herself, were rarely allowed to act. This competition, however, was an opportunity not to be missed. Starry butterfly shadow. A cascade of radiant blue energy poured from Alice's skin, like a divine river of holy light falling to the earth, gathering with precision. A brilliant starry pattern appeared on her back, while an elegant butterfly-shaped energy form, as light and graceful as a butterfly dance, silently manifested. These two, have they gone mad? Around the sacred altar, surprised murmurs spread, as even they dared not confront this level of fluctuation. Truly troublesome. However, the holy shadow of Xiao Ji. Violent purple flames surged like a turbulent river, howling within the barrier. In the blink of an eye, Little Yi's body was enveloped tightly by the purple flames, and the divine soul shadow, resembling a goddess, grew even more radiant. From a distance, if one did not sense the power, the Xiao Ji purple shadow behind Little Yi seemed like a noble princess. But anyone could clearly feel the overwhelming power contained within that delicate energy shadow. Such power, even faced by someone at the first-tier reincarnation level, would likely result in nothing but despair. It was the supreme power that could tear the heavens apart. Whum! As if concerned, the reincarnation seal on Little Yi's forehead erupted once more with a blazing purple halo, which poured into the soul shadow. An ancient and vast force spread out. This was nearly Little Yi's full power. If such force couldn't destroy Alice, then Little Yi might. This will end with this strike. Alice opened her lips, her eyes slightly closing. Her delicate hands came together under the gaze of countless onlookers. As her palms shifted, an ancient and mysterious wave emanated from her handprint. Butterfly shadow. Seal? Could this be the ultimate secret technique of the Fire Spirit clan? Seeing Alice's movement, Marvin, unable to ignore the weakness in his body, exclaimed in shock. Whoosh! As the words fell, massive green circles, each about 1,000 feet in size, spread out within the sacred altar's barrier, like ripples in a pond. Within the spreading green circles, the butterfly shadow that had been lying quietly beside Alice suddenly began to move. The butterfly eyes fluttered, and its wings swayed, causing the entire energy barrier to tremble. A terrifying pressure radiated from it. The soul shadow behind Little Yi brewed but did not act immediately, as this level of battle only offered him one chance. Little Yi hovered in midair, his eyes slightly closing, his hands crossing in front of him like Alice. As he made his move, the Xiao Ji soul shadow behind him became even more solid, as if the supreme ruler of all had descended. Fire Spirit Scripture, Butterfly Shadow. Alice suddenly opened her eyes, a fierce aura emerging, and with a swift motion, her delicate hand struck out toward little E with murderous intent. Boom! Boundless pressure and reincarnation energy erupted from the butterfly shadow and the green circles behind Alice. The very air seemed to solidify. Boom! Little Yi's attack was no less powerful, and in an instant, the two forces clashed together. Several colors intertwined in the center of the sacred altar's barrier. In the originally stable space, bursts of dazzling blue light exploded, sending a tingling sensation that shocked the hearts of countless onlookers. The spectators could not observe the intensity of the battle at the center of the clash, but they could see the blue light swelling with multiple energies. Everywhere it passed, the energy barrier began to feel a rare sense of dissipation. The once vibrant energy barrier dimmed, as a sickly gray hue spread, as if the very force within the space was being devoured and stripped away, and the speed at which this happened was astonishing. In the center of the sacred altar barrier, the battle between Little E and Princess Alice had reached a boiling point. However, the cyan glow radiating from their attacks, like a demon, ravaged all the vitality within the barrier without any clear direction. The sickly gray color filled most of the barrier. Even some of the forest trees at the bottom, which had been lush and vibrant, instantly withered, as if all their life force had been drained by the cyan glow, twisting and becoming grotesque. Boom! At the same time, as their energy attacks reached their peak, the entire barrier suddenly contracted violently before exploding outward. Waves of intense, scorching energy wind cut through the air, capable of grinding it to dust. These two are terrifying, but there's a hint of blood in the air. It seems like there's a victor, said a powerful elf with a furrowed brow, sensing the suffocating atmosphere within the barrier. Boom, boom, boom. Several fierce energy ripples spread, and the entire barrier seemed to be torn apart. The distortion was very evident. After a few minutes, the two figures slowly emerged from the center of the energy explosion. Atai. Princess Qianqin nodded and spoke first, her beautiful eyes, seemingly imbued with some terrifying power, piercing through the void in surprise. Oh! Hearing Princess Qianqin's words, Xiao Yan and Second Elder Marlin both looked shocked. They hesitated, as the battle's residual energy hadn't dissipated yet. But Princess Qianqin was able to clearly spot their figures. Atai. At that moment, many experts squinted their eyes and looked toward the sacred altar barrier. Inside the barrier, the countless energy ripples had grown faint, and the two figures reappeared in everyone's view. Alice's usually lazy expression had turned serious. She gripped the cyan glow in her palm, and the terrifying power capable of erasing everything caused her delicate face to turn cold. In her eyes, there was an incredulous look. How could she, a first-tier reincarnation, be reduced to such a sorry state by Little E, a mere perfect 8-star Docian? Even after using the supreme fire spirit technique, the fire spirit scripture, she still couldn't completely defeat Little E. On the other hand, Little E, though covered in wounds, with purple blood dripping from his body, looked utterly disheveled. Little E really hides his strength well, but I wonder how many more of these high-level attacks he can withstand. On the surface, Alice appeared calm, but inwardly she was seething with hatred. She longed to tear Little E apart and claim the reincarnation seal on him. First-tier reincarnation? A rare bloodthirsty aura emerged deep in Little Yi's eyes as his fists clenched involuntarily, his glare filled with fury. Alice's strength was overwhelming, and without the enhancement of the purple flame from the reincarnation seal, he wouldn't even be able to compete. As for the reincarnation seal and the purple flame, Little E knew that they were somehow connected to the so-called Elven Queen, Goddess Yaoji. However, he had refrained from using the power of the sacred flame embryo to avoid exposing it before fully stepping into the reincarnation realm. Among the Fire Spirit clan, only I can be the true king. So, Alice glanced around, then raised her hand. A soft wave of cyan energy spread out, and in front of everyone's eyes, the cyan energy slowly transformed into a lively cyan butterfly, dancing on her palm. Though the butterfly appeared delicate and frail, The energy fluctuations it emitted were astonishing. It seemed as though even souls would tremble at its presence. The cyan butterfly flitted about on Princess Alice's delicate palm. The cyan energy gathered and formed countless divine runes on the butterfly, radiating a mysterious aura. Elf source power. Countless powerful figures watching Alice's attack were left speechless with astonishment. The reason the Elven race was considered one of the elites of the Great Thousand Worlds was because of their connection to the word elf. Beings like Alice were among the noblest of the elves, capable of commanding the natural spirits of the world. These spirits, like the fire spirit, wood spirit, and others, each had unique forms. The butterfly Alice controlled now was a manifestation of a wood spirit, which she had coincidentally captured, then refined into her own source power. However, this method is controlled by only a very small number of individuals within the various Elven races. Many powerful elves still retain a human appearance, with their hearts being the main focus. This is also the best proof to distinguish the royal elves from ordinary ones. The key difference between the two is whether one possesses a spirit of nature and whether one has refined the essence of an elf. For example, the 3 electors of the fire spirit tribe and the elder chieftains among them are themselves elves, and they can control and subdue spirits, refining them into their own essence. After doing so, their strength and combat abilities experience a tremendous boost, making them overwhelmingly powerful. Alice raised her palm. An endless green energy emerged from the green butterfly, swirling to form strange and subtle patterns. How could I possibly lose? Little Yi's eyes turned blood red. As the reincarnation seal moved, purple flames seeped into Alice's body, causing purple veins to appear on her skin and meridians. Clenching his fist tightly, countless purple flames, like wild beasts in a berserk state, seemed to be attempting to counter Alice's world-destroying strike. The purple fire punch and the butterfly spirit's powers were similar, almost indistinguishable to the naked eye. However, those with sharp eyes, such as Princess Qianqin and Second Elder Marlin, could clearly sense that the two forces were not on the same level. Boom! The two attacks collided, and the sound of thunder rumbled throughout the world, even shaking the stable sacred altar's barrier. The void hummed, and faint cracks appeared. Hold on! Little Yi felt the terrifying aura from the butterfly spirit, pushing the reincarnation seal to its utmost limit. His veins bulged, and his eyes were filled with endless bloodshot veins. Though the attack was powerful, it could not be maintained for long. In the blink of an eye, the purple fire punch was shredded by the butterfly spirit. Under the assault of the spirit's ancient fluctuations, the purple flames on Little Yi quickly dissipated. Even the reincarnation seal on his forehead began to dim, clearly showing that this level of battle was too much for him to handle. The once stalemated situation was completely broken by the butterfly spirit summoned by Princess Alice. The green energy, like deadly starlight, slammed into Little Yi's body with devastating force. Purple blood flowed from Little Yi's body as everyone watched, his face growing increasingly pale. Die! Seeing this, Alice smiled and nodded. The butterfly spirit flew up, carrying an ancient, mysterious wave, and tore through the void, heading straight for Little Yi with a killing blow. Heh! Princess Alice of the Fire Spirit Tribe is truly extraordinary. Just as Alice thought victory was assured, a hearty laugh, accompanied by a deep, vast cyan glow, shot into the sky. Boom! A huge cyan fist clashed with the butterfly spirit's energy, and a massive energy explosion burst forth. The entire sacred altar's barrier trembled, and the energies in the space were even shattered. The terrifying power caused the edge of the elf altar's protective barrier to quake. Who? Destroying this princess's good work. Princess Alice's beautiful eyes were filled with intense killing intent. She roared, her gaze fixed on Little Yi. Her attack, which should have been able to crush Little Yi completely, was now being resisted by an ancient and heavy aura that felt as if an enormous mountain was pressing down on it. Second brother. Little Yi's expression darkened. Drops of purple, eerie blood dripped from his long body, looking quite unsettling. However, his pupils showed no fear, only a rare glint of madness. There's no need to use that, the aftereffects are too severe. And as your older brother, I will not allow you to do as you please. Xiao Yan retracted his fist, which was surrounded by a cyan glow, and looked sternly at little E, as though reprimanding him. Everyone's eyes widened, unable to believe what they were seeing. Just now, Princess Alice's furious strike, so powerful it could have posed a threat even to true reincarnation-level beings, was blocked by Xiao Yan's cyan fist. The shocking sight left them with an almost surreal feeling. This Xiao Yan is not simple. That fleeting power in his punch, it seems somewhat familiar. Could it be related to that one lord? Princess Qinqin's beautiful eyes were fixed on Xiao Yan, who stood before little E, her gaze filled with hesitation. Xiao Yan, this human, was not simple. Not only did he possess the sacred flame, but he also carried some strange cyan energy, a power that made Princess Qinqin take him seriously. But Little E gritted his teeth upon hearing this. The various rumors about Princess Alice had long been well known among the fire spirits, and now, in combat, Little E realized that this opponent was truly formidable. In fact, Little E felt that Alice had not yet shown her full strength. Let me handle this. After all, as your older brother, I must show some pride. How else could I command the respect of all the other forces? Xiao Yan casually waved his hand, then stretched lazily as if casually speaking of something trivial, all under the watchful eyes of countless onlookers. Be careful. Looking at the firm expression in Xiao Yan's eyes, little E could only nod helplessly and then, without saying more, left the sacred altar's barrier, darting toward the center. You little beast, ruining my plans. Seeing this, Alice's eyes turned bloodshot. No trace of the noble princess remained. Her expression was filled with the savage hatred of a wild beast, her voice harsh and full of venom. Second Elder, the actions of Xiao Yan from the South Tribe seem rather inappropriate, don't you think? This human dared to challenge the authority of our Fire Spirit clan, and now he has disrupted the rules we set. I suggest we capture and execute him. The chieftain of the West Tribe, Difu, looked at Xiao Yan and little E, who seemed to hold no regard for anyone, and turned to Marlin, the second elder, who was overseeing the event. With Princess Alice and little Yi's second battle still undecided, and Xiao Yan causing chaos, their hatred for him grew even stronger. Marlin's body trembled slightly upon hearing this, but he said nothing further. If Xiao Yan were merely an unknown nobody, they could have killed him without hesitation. However, Xiao Yan was little Yi's second brother. Both little E and Xiao Yan carried the sacred flame within them, something the Fire Spirit clan desperately needed. Without it, the clan's ailments would never be healed. This was one of the reasons why the Fire Spirit clan's chief and Grand Elder had not stepped in to oversee the matter. As Xiao Yan had guessed, the Fire Spirits were indeed being corrupted by some external force. The current competition was to select extraordinary individuals to enter the clan's sacred grounds to address these issues. The elections of the three great tribes were made clear before the battle began. Each tribe is allowed 3 participants, and the one who survives to the end wins. My reason for intervening is simple. I care for my younger brother. After all, Princess Alice is a dignified reincarnation-level warrior. Now, since Little E has lost, it's my turn. Princess Alice shouldn't have an issue with this, should she? Xiao Yan smiled mockingly, his tone laced with sarcasm. This guy, is he crazy? Even someone as powerful as Lord Little E, with the blessing of the reincarnation seal, couldn't defeat Princess Alice. And now this human, with mere mid-8-star Dosian strength, dares to challenge her? The surrounding Fire Spirit experts exchanged glances, finding Xiao Yan's arrogance utterly ridiculous. To them, his actions seemed no different from courting death. Don't waste my time. And don't think that just because you have the second elder's order, I won't dare to kill you. The sacred flame is a treasure of the great 1,000 worlds, and in your hands, it would be nothing but waste. Upon hearing this, Alice regained some of her composure. Right now, the priority was to fight for the position of the next clan leader. As for Little Yi's reincarnation seal, once she successfully took the position, there would be countless ways to obtain it. Therefore, there was no need to let a small issue like this ruin her chances. Heh, then you needn't worry about me, Princess Alice. I just want to discuss the Fire Spirit Clan's fire control techniques with you today. I wonder, which is stronger, your fire control or my sacred flame? As Xiao Yan spoke, a wave of intense heat emanated from his body. Though his voice was calm, there was an invisible pressure that made others feel it acutely. Since that's the case, the third battle begins. The South and West tribes are down to their last fighters. If you lose, you'll forfeit your qualifications for this contest. Marlin, the second elder, smiled faintly. His previously closed eyes suddenly opened as he focused on the two in the arena. With a flick of his sleeve, violent winds appeared, reinforcing the barrier surrounding the arena once more. Second elder, isn't this a bit excessive? Fighting between a first-tier Reincarnation and a mid-8-star Defying has no real spectacle to it. I believe this battle will be over quickly. Who knows, perhaps the second elder is just being overly cautious. This human looks weak. How is it that he possesses the sacred flame? In the center of the sacred altar, murmurs of doubt filled the air. Clearly, no one had any faith in Xiao Yan. After all, the gap between the two was too great. One was at the first-tier Reincarnation, not even the full Reincarnation level. Though seemingly weak and only differing by a single character, the power and might of this force are worlds apart, as if an insurmountable chasm divides them. In the center of the Elven sacred altar's barrier, Xiao Yan and Alice stood in opposition, neither making a move hastily. Sammy, Albert, who do you think will win this battle? Princess Qianqin asked with a smile, teasing as she observed the tense confrontation between the two. Your Highness, please don't joke, Sammy, the female elf replied, slightly taken aback at first before shaking her head with a bitter smile on her face. There's really no uncertainty about this battle. As the personal maid of Princess Qianqin, Sammy was not only at Reincarnation level, but also responsible for the princess's daily affairs. Now that they had drawn the short straw, they could proceed directly to the final round for the position of the next Elven King. With the combined strength of the three, their chances of victory were very high. However, Sammy didn't want to fight Alice from the Western tribe, but looking at the current strength of the Southern tribe, they couldn't defeat the Western tribe. This posed a significant obstacle, as Alice's divine might was truly terrifying. What about you, Albert? Princess Qianqin did not argue, only shaking her head. It's hard to say. This human named Xiao Yan always carries a strange aura, and the extent to which he controls the sacred flame inside him is still unclear, Albert replied cautiously. Xiao Yan stood firm in the void, his foot stamping heavily, sending a wave of amber flames sweeping out. The space beneath his feet twisted, and countless amber flames surged together to form a vast, magnificent ocean. Within this ocean, the flames roiled violently, burning the very fabric of space itself. The imposing presence was enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Not bad, this sacred flame. But today, Princess will show you what reincarnation truly means. Alice's voice dropped, and brown flames rose from her delicate form. A mountain-like pressure descended, as her slender finger pointed at Xiao Yan. Boom! Her fingertips struck out, and the surrounding void seemed to be crushed by an inexplicable force, distorting the space slightly. A massive green pillar of light, 100 feet tall, condensed. The pillar not only carried the brown flames, but also had mysterious butterfly-shaped patterns on it. The power within was violently overwhelming. Humph! Seeing this, Xiao Yan nodded slightly, his expression turning colder. The amber rock soul flame inside him surged forth, and the vast ocean of flames beneath his feet howled fiercely, seeming to clash with Alice's attack head-on. Immortal golden body. With a soft call, a golden giant emerged from the void, radiating an ancient, heavy aura. The moment it appeared, it interlocked with the green pillar Alice had released, under Xiao Yan's control. Boom! The two terrifying forces collided, creating a thunderous explosion. The clash of vastly different energies sent shockwaves through the space, making it hum with vibration. It seems your amber flames are indeed not ordinary. looking at her attack being devoured without a ripple by the golden giant and amber flames, completely obliterated. Alice's previously disdainful gaze had completely disappeared. Though this had been a casual strike, Xiao Yan had easily neutralized it. This man was far from what he appeared to be. Wood spirit. After a brief moment, Alice, with her sharp mind, realized the gravity of the situation. She would not underestimate Xiao Yan. Without hesitation, she summoned the green butterfly-shadowed spirit, which quietly hovered behind her, forming a breathtaking starry map. Its power was unshakable. The green halo shot into the sky, sweeping across the entire world with an overwhelming and vast aura. Array formation power, prisoning sky formation of the fire god. Bind them. Hearing Alice's terrifying move, Xiao Yan's eyes flashed with a rare weight and madness. Whoosh! With the sound, the divine motion, core inscription, which had been dormant in Xiao Yan's body, suddenly stirred. Circles of pure white array patterns spread out, centering on the vast sea of flames beneath his feet. Everyone saw Xiao Yan's body shake as shocking white energy erupted from his thin form. As the energy surged out, it carried a mysterious force that ravaged the entire barrier, as if something special was happening to the barrier itself. What is this? Seeing this, Second Elder Marlin and Little E couldn't remain seated any longer. They jumped up, their eyes locked on the force emanating from Xiao Yan's body. Battle Array Master. That's the power of array patterns. After a brief pause, Little E finally realized what kind of force Xiao Yan was wielding. This guy. His methods are unexpectedly vast. However, Alice is at first-tier reincarnation. To deal with him, she'll need at least 100,000 array patterns. The current number of array patterns is still far from enough. Princess Qianqin lowered her head and shook it, a look of helplessness on her face. Alice's with spirit butterfly shadow energy behind her grew more intense, ready to deliver a fatal strike. However, just as the attack was about to land, she suddenly realized that all the energy within the barrier had unexpectedly lost its connection with her. She looked up again, exclaiming in shock. At this moment, the entire sacred altar barrier was enveloped by a vast space covered in amber-colored flames. Meanwhile, numerous flame-like figures, wrapped in amber-colored flames, stood beside Xiao Yan. The aura they exuded was truly frightening. 94,000 paths, still a bit short? Xiao Yan glanced at the massive army of tens of thousands behind him, shook his head, and then closed his eyes. He began to carefully channel the power at the Mud Pill Palace and urged the formation's energy to condense. 100,000 paths could only handle a typical reincarnation-level opponent. To deal with a first-tier reincarnation, about 150,000 paths would be needed. However, Xiao Yan possessed the sacred flame, and when deploying the battle array, his intention was to temporarily imprison Alice and buy himself time to prepare his attack. Though Alice's strength was terrifying, with Xiao Yan fully armed with his sacred flame mantra, dragon god transformation, and other powers, the formers would likely dim in comparison. However, due to Princess Qianqin's unclear background, Xiao Yan didn't want to reveal all his methods, which was why he chose this course of action. The entire barrier was now completely enveloped by Xiao Yan's formation power. Alice furrowed her brows as she looked around, vaguely able to see Xiao Yan standing on an endless sea of flames. Around him, thousands of energy figures, their bodies flickering with amber flames, silently crouched behind him. They resembled guards, quietly protecting Xiao Yan. At the same time, the overwhelming killing intent emanating from the thousands of flame figures swept through the formation. The world within the barrier lost all color as the wind and clouds shifted. Behind Xiao Yan, a huge, ethereal creature slowly emerged. 100,000 path formation energy enhancement. Spirit of the array formation, come forth. Just as Alice's cheeks twitched violently, stunned and pale, a deafening roar swept down from the sky. The terrifying fluctuations within it stirred everyone's hearts.